I'm studying to be a pilot in the United States, and before I start studying to be a pilot, I'm like, maybe I cannot do it because I need to study everything in English. And I really need to be more patient, and I really need to be more confident and believe in myself. It's gonna be really hard for me. So I think I brought very good discipline, mindset, mentality from my previous job to aviation. Being a chef in fine dining industry is really tough. Whenever I have failure, I kind of overcome it pretty well from that experience. I graduated culinary school. So for me, studying habit was kind of studying is done by high school. But this is my huge goal, to become a pilot. So I just sit down and then study. Especially for me, I'm from South Korea, so I'm from totally different culture and language. It could be harder than other student pilots in America. So I just don't want to quit this journey. So I just sit down and then just put head down and then study.
Hey everybody, Travis here. I'm a CFI at Thrust. We're following Jisun's journey through all of our ratings here, and I just wanted to pop in, give you all a few quick tips and insights on how you can be successful on your aviation journey with us. Well, it's like learning a new language. You gotta take in a lot of new information. There's words you have to learn, acronyms, this whole lingo that surrounds this. Kind of like a water hose of information. You're just trying to take it all in. Additionally, you're trying to learn how to fly the airplane. So you've got the ground portion where you're trying to learn all this new information, words, how to talk to people, how to communicate with air traffic control, and then also how to safely control, fly, land an airplane. Oftentimes, one of the most intimidating things is just speaking to air traffic control. So that in and of itself can be a little bit of a challenge, simply because you haven't had any of those interactions. You don't know what they're gonna say. You don't know what to expect in the beginning. So a lot of it is just a lot of new experiences, and it can be a little difficult at first, just because you're gonna fail, and that's just part of the process. You're gonna make mistakes, you're gonna mess up, but it's just part of learning and growing. So you just gotta tackle it head on.
Was there anything that stood out, that you struggled with, like a maneuver or?
I struggled, oh my God. I struggled with landings. Actually, I cried in my car a lot because I don't want to cry in front of people, because I put myself 100% in the school, but landings and those kind of stuff is not naturally, you can do it really well from the beginning. Some people are good at from the beginning, but maybe I'm not. So it takes really long time for me, and I really need to be more patient, and I really need to be more confident and believe in myself.
So I wasn't Jisun's main CFI, but there was, she wanted to dial in our landings a little bit better before we moved to the solo piece. We didn't have that confidence there. So I went in and flew with her, I believe, 2 times to get those things situated. And really what I noticed on the first one was just the inconsistency coming in on final. So we fixed the traffic pattern piece, made sure that airspeed was consistent, altitude was consistent. We got that part good. And then once we got established on final, just noticed some issues with some over controlling, and then just being a little scared of what the airplane was gonna do. So again, just the reassurance, hey, I'm not gonna let you crash, just follow through, do what you think's right. If something goes awry, I'll take over. But again, just saw a little too much over controlling there. So it was just, you're doing the right things, you're just doing too much of it. So I need you to dial back the pressure a little bit on the controls, relax a little bit, and then from there, she started to make a couple good landings, and then within a few days of that, soloed successfully.
Oh my God, I was nervous. I don't know why, but I normally take 1 coffee before my flight or class. I don't know why, but I had coffee and an energy drink because I don't want to get tired. That day I woke up early to study all over the stuff, review all of it. And I'm like, okay, since I woke up way too early, I want to have 1 more energy drink. And then I got it, and then my hands were shaking, and I'm like, oh my God, it's not good. So I was doing jumping jack in the hangar and drink a lot of water. And finally I got better. So I was very normal, and the EOC was just started I don't know, I was really nervous. Actually, ground was more nervous than fly. Usually I'm really confident for the ground part, but I don't know. And a lot of people told me that Checkride ground part is easier than stage 3. But since I was nervous, I think it was like same. So I really recommend to student pilot who is preparing PPL, just make sure ground is like perfect.
I would say a lot of the anxiety comes from, I don't know what I'm gonna get asked. And we can alleviate a lot of that, or you can alleviate a lot of that by familiarizing yourself with the FAA testing documents. And then if there's something specifically that you have trouble with, ask. Be like, hey, I don't feel good about this area. And then go ask somebody else. Ask me every question you can think of about this. And then after you do that with 2 or 3 different people, typically you'll be able to identify the holes in your ship there and be able to plug those before going into your ride. And then for the flight portion, I would just say everybody's nervous going into this, but that's natural. Again, take your time with this. You've got multiple hours, 2 hours minimum usually to do this. Safety is the #1 priority, so run your checklist, like stick to the basics. Understand that nobody's going to fault you for running a checklist in additional time, taking additional time to clear the area or whatever the circumstance may be, and then just do the best. If everything's not perfect, don't abandon the maneuver, don't give up at all or anything until they say, hey, that's unsatisfactory. Just keep plugging along, keep doing the best you can, and it should all work out in the end.
So for UC, they checked soft fill takeoff, short fill takeoff. I think I did normal takeoff one time, and soft fill landing, short fill landing. And for maneuvers, you will do 2 kinds of different stall, which is power on, power off, and steep turn, and slow flight, and also you're gonna pick one ground maneuver, which is gonna be turns around the point or S-turn, but I did turns around the point. Flight, of course, there's also a lot of scenario that I got alternator failure and engine fire, but it's not just about like, hey, you got the engine fire, what are you gonna do? It was not like that. That was like mostly for my stage check, but he kind of like put, okay, look at this MFD. You're gonna have like this part red line. What's that meaning? And I need to say exact answer for that thing, and then okay, you got engine fire, and then I need to recover. So recently, Terrell Airport was closed for a while, so I didn't went that airport almost for 2 months. And during EOC, my check instructor said, okay, let's go to Terrell Airport. So when he said, let's go to Terrell Airport, I'm like, oh my God. And then it's non-towered airport. So you gotta make sure, like, you gotta communicate with all pilots in there, whoever flying there, right? And then I personally like towered airport because they give me instruction, so I just need to follow their instruction, right? And I want that situation during my check ride, but he was like, let's go Terra Airport.
All right, untowered airport tips. So this can be a little bit different than towered airport operations simply because you don't have somebody directing traffic. It's gonna be on your own. It can be a little bit like the wild, wild west, people coming, people going. Not everybody's gonna be on frequency. And then most importantly, you gotta figure out how you're gonna enter the pattern and make sure that you're doing it safely. So first things first, if you get instructed to go to X airport, we got to figure out a game plan. So I think one of the most common things we see is that people just start immediately beeline it directly towards the airport. And that's not the right play here. Want to maintain a safe distance from the airport, roughly 8 to 10 miles, and get a plan formulated. One, we got to get the weather, figure out which runway we're going to land on. And then number 2, we've got to see if there's other planes there, what they're doing, is there room for us, and how we're going to squeeze into the pattern. And then 3, what's our entry procedure going to look like? So this all comes down to where you're at and where the airport's at, how you're going to get there, and then how you're going to enter it. There can be a lot involved here because you're doing a lot of things. You're flying the airplane, you're doing checklists, you're picking up the weather there, you're listening to the communications of other airplanes there to see what they're doing, see where they're at, and how you're going to get in. And then you've got 3 standard traffic pattern entry procedures that you can execute to get into the pattern. So you have to figure that out. So take a couple minutes to figure all that out. In the beginning, we know you've only had a handful of times doing this, so your experience may not be the best, some more than others, depending on how much flight hours they have. But again, don't rush. This is your check ride. This is your EOC. Take your time. The biggest thing we're looking for here is safety. And if it takes you 2, 3, 4 minutes to safely figure out how you're going to enter the pattern there, that's no issue at all. In short, take your time, formulate a plan whenever you get into the pattern, and then communicate clearly with all other airplanes in the pattern. Don't be afraid to ask them questions. Don't be afraid to tell them what you're doing or ask them what they're doing. Again, communication's key here. Safety is always the priority, and typically if you communicate clearly, you'll have no issues safely flying the pattern.
Let's go to our airport. Okay. That day, the weather was good, first of all. But there was like a little bit of crosswind component, and sometimes if the weather is good, the winds just change the direction by itself, like randomly. So before I leave Edison, I ask some instructors and students, like, how's up there? And everyone said, perfect, but be careful. Wind is keep changing, wind direction is keep changing, so just be careful. I'm like, oh my God, I need to go non-towered airport. And I'm like, 10 nautical miles away from that airport. I make a first call. I ask, which runway are you guys using? Because I was not confident. The reason why I was not confident, when I listen 80s, the weather said, winds calm. That means I don't know, where's the winds come from, so I cannot expect what runway that I need to use. And that situation I've never experienced with my instructor before. So I was like, go there closer, and I kept checking that MFD if there's any traffic. There's no one in that airport. So I get closer, and then I keep checking the wind direction on my PFD. So I keep following the angle of that arrow. And I said, okay, I'm gonna land on runway 36. And then I make a call. Right after I make the call, winds changed. So I was like, oh. And then I make the call again. Tell traffic, there's 555. I'm gonna turn to north and change runway 18. So I don't know, since my check instructor said EOC, during EOC, you're gonna be PIC. So I need to decide everything. I cannot ask him, hey, what should I do? So I was like, okay, let's trust myself. Let's believe in myself, and then let's make decision. The decision that I made was change the runway, which is 18. So I turn to north and then go a little further and then come back to runway 18, left downwind part. And then right after that, winds never changed, and then I finished my EOC really well. Yeah, but we did ground first, and then after ground, he said, okay, you're good for ground. That means you're passed for ground, so let's go flight, right? If you fail on ground, you cannot fly for the check ride. So after I passed my ground, I did pre-flight, and then we went there, and then after I showed everything that I need to show him, literally after short fill landing, and we did short fill takeoff, and after I finished my takeoff, he said, congratulations Jisun, you're a private pilot. Yeah, I was like, yay! It was really good. I'm Jisun, and now I'm a private pilot.